Finish this sentence. The DMV doesn't know it yet, but
we're next up in entertainment.
why do you say that?
I just think there's too much talent, and I feel like a lot of eyes are gonna have its like production and everything's moving towards the East Coast, and I think like as it gets easier to film here, people are gonna realize that this is an area that they need to be in.
Hello, everyone. Today on the opening scene, we're talking with someone who has shaped the look and feel of so many productions coming out of the DMV, even though you might not have realized it. Leon Mitchell is a multi-hyphenate creative, a gaffer, producer, director, and problem solver whose fingerprints are on everything from indie docs to national commercials to studio features filmed right here in our backyard. He's worked on projects connected to Captain America, Wonder Woman, major studio, Super Bowl commercials, and some of the region's biggest independent films. But what makes him essential isn't the credits, it's his mentality. Leon learned from some of the best gaffers in the region, and he brings a rare mix of humility, hustle, and technical mastery. He's someone who shows up, solves problems, and elevates every director and DP that he works with. In this conversation, we get to understand how he built his career in lighting, what makes the DMV a uniquely powerful production ecosystem, the sacrifices he made to even get to this point, and his belief that we're up next in entertainment. From Allegory Productions and Candor Labs, this is the opening scene with Leon Mitchell.
I was talking to some of my collaborators about this project. One thing we were talking about is just lighting and how important it is to every single project. And I think you and I have previously had this conversation just about like when you first started, did you even understand the importance of lighting? But then also, did you think that you would get into lighting as a role yourself?
I did not know how important lighting was. I knew like when I went to school, I kind of figured out like, okay, lighting is needed, but until I really got in the field and really saw like the difference in doing it and working with like other lighting guys and seeing that there's different ways to do it, it really showed me like, oh yeah, this is real important. Before I was just like blast the light at, just to bring up ambience, or, you just shoot into the ceiling, just to bring it up. But, that's not always the way.
You were just talking about like different ambient lighting, the different directions of lighting, and we'll definitely get into the technical to nerd out a little bit for that. I want to give you your props on that one for sure. I want to step back just because gaffing is listed on your Instagram and your profile for I think LinkedIn as well, but also you have producing and directing, and I'm just curious like which one like do you show up more as, and like how does that
work? Okay, gaffing definitely pays all of my bills, and the goal was always to be able to produce my own stuff and when I have ideas, just be able to do it. But I guess like what really helped me was getting into gaffing, because that was my way of like getting on set, seeing how everything is supposed to run, seeing like who's does what, you know what I mean? Like, and it really just was the easiest way to learn. And then in the midst of me learning what everyone else is doing, I'm getting better at a certain skill that's needed, and realizing, oh yeah, this is important, and see, yeah, people not realizing, and especially being a gaffer, and there's not too many black gaffers. Like, I learned from one of the best gaffers in the area, like Wilson.
okay?
And uh he just showed me like really pretty much like the basics on like how to go for a good image, and I don't even think he was like doing it on purpose. I just always just showed up with a smile, no matter how bad or how bad the set was or whatever. Like, I just like was going through it, like whatever you need, Mike, just, yeah, I'll do it. So I guess like he really liked that, so he just like kept me on, break, coming back to doing set. And like I learned that just being available was a big way of just getting on.
a can-do attitude as well. Like as you said, showing up. Like they talk about that with I think PAs or just these different roles, support roles. Like as long as you show up with a great attitude, with the
Right.
desire to learn and figure it out, like you'll
Right.
keep getting the callbacks left and right, left and right.
Yeah, and there was like super at least like everyone I've come in contact with, there's never really like people that's like, oh, you don't know how to do that. Why don't you know? You know, it's like everyone's always willing to assist, and it's just like people just want to know, you know, your skill level before they, you know, put you somewhere. But these, yeah, just be honest and upfront. Someone's gonna help you. I promise.
Like you have this reputation that you're just now, like if I'm gonna have lights on set, which is on pretty much every single set. Again, you're instrumental in that understanding, at least in a lot of communities and circles I'm in.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Take your flowers, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
But before that, though, was there like some type of aha moment that you're like, you know what, this is how you tell stories through lights. Like this is the direction I want to keep on going. You said Mike introduced you to it, and you kind of just kept showing up. But is there one moment that sticks out to you that's like, you know, I can keep doing this?
I mean, I guess really once I worked at how I really got into all of this was I worked on at the rental house called the Washington Source for lighting. That's where I met everybody. So it's a sidebar. I encourage everybody, you know, you try to get on set or something, meet people that's on set, check out your rental house. But yeah, being at that rental house, you know, it did pay like bills, and I guess once I started like working on set, I was at the shop less and less. So I guess when my manager kind of was like, "So you gonna still be here? You're only coming in once a week," and if that, you know, my paycheck was I remember he gave my paycheck and the thing was like $30 on it, and I was like, okay,
Can't pay the bills with that.
yeah, I was like, maybe I don't need to be here because I'm not here that much, you know. It's like, wow. So yeah, that was my kind of moment where I was like, okay, I can probably, you know, figure it out. Like I can pay my bills doing the lighting thing.
Yeah. Did you think it would take you on this trajectory? I mean, to think on some of your IMDb credits, yeah, I did my research on this one for sure. I think I saw some major studio productions. You think of like the Captain America ones. You think of who I think you worked on Wonder Woman as well. Like I mean, a lot of productions that come to this area, but then also you do a lot of the indie roles as well, and indie productions, so forth and so on. But did you think that this path would take you into some of these big rooms and also all across the world, maybe?
No, like, because honestly, this was never really like the goal. The goal was always just to just do things on YouTube and just get paid off YouTube. And, you know, that's how I initially got into doing film through my friend Daniel Vicaria back in the day. And he showed me how to, you know, do everything from him going to school or going to like his TV production class. And he would just come back and show me like, look, that's how you do everything. So like we just was really just doing YouTube, and the goal was just to like just get better and learn the skills. I guess bring it back to make YouTube content. But you know, I'm not gonna, you know, complain either. You know, like those opportunities come and, you know, just take it. And a lot of sacrifices has, you know, have come in to play to do those opportunities. Like, you know, I lost a lot of relationships, you know, just, you know, because it takes up a lot of time, you know. Like sometimes like to do Wonder Woman, I was supposed to go on a vacation, you know, and I was already like canceling a bunch of jobs, and then Wonder Woman came up, and it was like, oh, you gotta do this, or you gotta do that, blah blah blah. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. This is real crazy. You know, I'm about to do Wonder Woman. So, so, you know, things like that happen. But it's like, yeah, like at the end of the day, it's a blessing, you know. So I do know I'm blessed.
You talked about showing up with set on Wonder Woman, and I kind of went and started diving into that technical piece of it. You know,
Okay.
show up as a gaffer. Let's stick with that for right now, knowing that you.
I wasn't a gaffer or
No, Wonder Woman. Just thinking in general. I know you got to put the caveat. Yeah, go. Like, check the credits. Like I'm not. I don't want to overhype. But your main role, as you've been saying, is from the gaffing standpoint, from the gaffer role. Help me understand just the role when it comes to you as a gaffer when you're working in that relationship with working with a DP and a cinematographer, or else you might actually work with consistently on set.
Yeah.
Try to build that image.
Really just work, really the two people I most work closely with is the DP and the key grip. The I just worked with a really dope DP named Nikki Wall, who he just did a buddy of mine's Jimmy Jenkins movie. Shout out to Jimmy Jenkins. Shout out to Jimmy, yeah, Dan Bowie for getting me on that project. But
Oh yeah, Daniel. Shout out, Dan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. But they Nikki, every DP has, like their own vision, and as like, the gaffer, like that's your technically that's your boss. So it's like, but they'll like uh kind of like give you like a general idea of what they're going for, like the feel of it. And then I try to usually just craft, like try to make that feel with it with lights, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, you want high contrast, or no, it's supposed to be extra bright, or it's supposed to, light like that. And yeah, like hopefully it's what their vision is. Some DPs are way more chill, and some DPs are like very like on it, like they know exactly, like, nah, I want the light to be right here in this exact spot here. It's like,
You have a preference? We're not gonna put anyone on the spot here, just for a preference for like the type of DP you like to work with. One that allows you to like have a lot more flexibility, or to your point, like there are certain DPs that are like, I need this light here, angled at this. I need it to be natural. I need you to like.
preference, no, it honestly depends on the job. Like if it's like a creative and a fun job, sure, I would want to do more creative things. But it's like at the end of the day, it's like what's best for the overall project. So I don't really think I have a preference. Like I can mold around it, because at the end of the day, it's not 100% like my project, but my name's gonna be on it. So I want it to be, make sure like, I'm still doing a service. I want to do the best for whoever I'm working for. You know what I mean? So that always comes first. But preference, and we get, you can have a little fun with it for sure. But sometimes it's needed. I like when I listen to some DPs that are like very on it, like you learn and you see sometimes why they did it like that, and you walk away, okay, I'll take that, put it in the notebook. But if not, sometimes you're like, ah, it's still trash. But that's keep pushing it.
You just talked about the DP role, and I also think about, again, you're a multi-hyphenate creative. Like you're not just locking to this gaffer role. You have the producer, director. I think you also did location management for what key role is gets you. I'm curious, like how those varied roles help you when it comes to gaffing, possibly like how you show up on set, if at all, if it does actually help you to know like how you show up as a producer and director. Like how does it influence you as a gaffer as opposed to someone who might just only do gaffing?
I guess like doing like the producer role and all that stuff kind of helps me get, because I realize like on both ends, like, one side's trying to save money, and then one side's trying to just, make it the easiest and the best that it could be. So it's like that balance, and then also too, like how much time is it, how, efficiency is like real important.
Yeah.
I think that probably are those two key roles.
Can you talk about a shot where you thought it was going to be completely impossible to light it beforehand, and then the end result of it was amazing?
I feel like that all the time. Like, to be honest with you, I did a thing with the Michael Bay was doing like a Super Bowl commercial thing, recruiting for the Secret Service. That's what it was. And I was honestly like,
It's a fire commercial.
but I guess the whole time it's like, while we was going through it, it was like, this is a lot. Like, how are you supposed to do it? But then I come up with this phrase. I say it always works out because it has to. And at the end of the day, like, they're going to hit record on the on the camera and get something. So it's like, just as long as you make it that look as good as you can, it's going to be fine. You know what I mean? So it's like, try not to stress it as much, because yeah, stressing it is not going to make anything any better. I can promise you that. It's going to work out. You just got to just get through it. But I really feel like in all the projects, I like, you want to, oh yeah, like the subject is standing out a little bit more, or, someone's walking into the light, or you know, I think, yeah, it'll influence. If it looks good, then thanks to lighting team.
Let me. If it looks too dark, like this, looking at the lighting team.
If it looks too dark, they was rushing. So it was rushing. It's
No
not.
time.
Yeah, there was no
It's like,
time. They just like they say, all right, we're just gonna shoot it. Like it looked great. I promise.
Let me retry rephrase the question then, like just from your own personal insights. What is a project that stands out to you where lighting, like you look back to, is like how level we did on that project from the lighting perspective?
I mean, I really think like this last thing I did with the God Within Us or God With Us movie. I really think like looking back, like I can't wait for that to come out. I think there's a lot of good DPs out here. Oh, anything I do with like Kirby or all right, these are DPs that I felt like really put dirt, like Kirby, where I was working with Alexis. I think she's really good. Sherry and Kirby Griffin, Alexis Sherry, and then Spencer Grumler. Like I like those are really three DPs I really like. I invited them to the film festival. Like those are DPs I really feel like that understand lighting. That I work with a lot.
When you say they push you, what do you mean by that?
I don't know. I just feel like they like to be, extra creative. Like Kirby's cool because he doesn't use a lot of lights, and he's really good, like in the shadow. Like he's like a young Bradford Young, in my opinion. Yeah, like he's really good at that. Like anything with shadows, like lighting darts, like black people. Like he's, I would say, the best. And then like look on the opposite end of the spectrum, like Spencer he can create a mood. I would say like we recently just did a project where it was like a podcast, but they wanted everything to I wish I remembered the painting right now, but everything had to look like this not Van Gogh. It was really like this high craft painting, like we're in this billionaire's house, like out in Virginia. They called this really fancy painting, and it was doing a podcast around it. But Spencer wanted like all the lights to like everyone to be lit from the right side of their face, and that's it. And but everyone's be sitting at a circle table, so it was like a round table, but everyone had to be lit from the one side. So that was like a challenge, like I'm like, all right. So, I had Andrew Noggle, me and him put pretty much made a goal post, and that's where you take two copy stands, put a bar across, speed rail across one way, and then a Minotaur, which is a stand with a pole extended out with a counterweight on the backside with a light. It had light mats just hitting each individual person, and then we lit the all the paintings in the room with I think like aperture ADCs, just to put like little accents on the lights. And then a little blackout on some of like where light creases like from like the windows. But like I can't wait for that podcast to come out. But that I was like looking at that, I was like, oh yeah, this is crazy. So shout out to Spencer. And then Alexis, she's like a blend of both of them. Like doing like she likes interviews really well and the commercials. Like Alexis, she always she's very impressive DP in her own right. But yeah, there's a lot of great DPs. If I'm missing anyone, don't like hate me. Don't want to hire me either. Like
we talk about the top three. I didn't.
You're on right now. Right. Oh, and I can't forget LaDawn. I have to put LaDawn in there too.
Okay.
LaDawn, super solid. Like LaDawn, she's one of the DVs that know what she wants. Like
did you talk about like place this light right here situation, or
maybe not? Like she won't tell me like where to place the lights or whatever. She'll tell me exactly the mood, and if it's not like what she wants, she's gonna flat out tell me like, nah, this is not it. Like she's not that. And then
so do you have a starting five?
We're gonna five. And then I have to throw Darius in there. I can't believe Darius should go in my top three, to be honest. But Darius Lyles. I don't know if you guys
Not familiar. I will meet him.
Yeah, he actually shot my short. He like Darius is one the DP says his style's very like, all right, I'll let you cook, like he's really more so like working on the frame, and then if it's not like, and then when he comes back to it and look at the lighting, he'll like give a suggestion, maybe like, oh yeah, babe, this is a little hot, like right here, let's go down a little bit, but like kind of just let me light the scene, and then he'll like put like his input on the back of it, you know what I mean, like yeah, super, yeah, Darius is super solid, and very knowledgeable.
You have
Sorry, that's 5.
a lot. MSC, you hit the starting 5 now. I'm not gonna. We got Spencer,
Spencer,
Kirby, Alexis, Ladon, Darius. We're not gonna put them necessarily in like
Yeah, no order.
order, but that's your starting 5 like a basketball team right there.
Yeah,
That's out there.
Yep.
I love that. I love
Yep.
that.
I'm gonna get that right now.
Yeah. You've been on a lot of different type of sets. What's a habit or tool that you like almost consistently are working with? Whether it be a habit that you like how you prep, or a tool that you always are coming on set like, you look, I don't know what we're about to do, but I have to have this.
Oh yeah, light mat and a stair tubes. Then if you have a light mat and a stair tubes, I feel like you can make a lot happen. I usually use light mats for like a lot of the indie projects because they don't have super big budgets. So if all right, so this is the key. If you're doing like an indie project and you don't have a lot of like a super lot of money, right? I would say the gear that essentials to help you get through it, you don't have to really worry about lighting too much, is if you had 2 600 aperture lights. I would say a light 1 or 2 light mats with grids. Okay. Light mat 4s particularly is my favorite. I would say a stair tubes and the Pluto. Is Stair Pluto. I use that for everything. Just because I like Stair products because you don't have to have cords a lot of times, and a lot of times I'm doing things that's like move real fast, or like especially like the running gun documentaries.
Yeah.
It's easy just I could be outside and put on full spot and shoot something. It's great. Or if it's at nighttime, it's even better. But 2 of those is very deadly. Like yeah. But those are those, if you have that like that kind of kit, I think you could do a lot with indie projects because I've done it. You know what I mean? Like music videos too.
What type of budget is that? 2 600s I think costs a good amount already just in itself. So
yeah.
indie, I'm like, how low indie are we talking? How like mid indie are we talking? What for that type of kit you just described? Are we talking 10,000?
To rent, you could probably get it cheaper to rent. It just depends on your area and your rental house and asking them to work with you. But if you're planning on doing it like a long time and you're gaffing, if you get that, add it to your kit, I would say.
Those the pieces.
Yeah, those are like essential pieces I'd like definitely feel like I need to help me move. And then of course when you get like bigger budget stuff, you'll start trying to get lights that you're not gonna just buy, or you're not old, you're not. I'm not getting all these HMIs and we're just randos. Yeah, right.
Just keep them in your basement.
Yeah, that's right. That's crazy. Like,
you've had this opportunity to gaff or just film, produce, direct in different places beyond just this DMV area. I'm curious in your experience, like what makes this area unique in comparison to different markets you'd be able to do this work in.
the reason why I like the DMV area is because I feel like you can get everything here, but maybe a desert.
So location wise,
I think location
the boxes all over across the board.
It does.
Outside of a Albuquerque, New Mexico type of desert.
Yeah, exactly. Like if y'all find that, y'all let me know. But I think you really can get everything here, especially on the like the Maryland, Virginia side for sure. Like DC, I feel like people it gets a lot of love because of what it is, and you know, people are going to come in to get those shots or other city and whatnot. And I feel like if somehow all three of the states could work together on their incentives together and combine their pot, and make it work, then that would be uh beneficial for everybody. But you know, Virginia also, it's tricky because Virginia also has a lot of, you know, production that goes on and like down, like yeah, I get to
Richmond, the
so
waterfront areas, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, the tri area there. Yeah. So it's much different than like the Northern Virginia portion of it.
and funny enough, I used to travel down to Richmond. I actually worked on Veep.
I was wondering if there was any of these on here that you've actually worked on.
No, like the Wires before my time.
Okay.
Mike wasn't working up the Wire. But Veep, I got the day play a few times when they was filming that in the studio out in Richmond.
How was that?
It was cool. It was cool. That was like when I was like really like still learning. So I was, you know, really just like a runner pretty much when they would call for a stand or whatever. I would just grab it, run to the set.
Because you're there though, like, you know, that many people, I can't say I had that experience too. So I'm sure that was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I can't complain. While I said like I enjoyed it every minute. I really like, you know, that's how I knew I really like being on set, because I'll be on the set for, like you said, like 12, 14 hours sometimes. And at the end of the day, like you're, you know, like Kate playing, like I'd much rather be doing that than doing something else. You know what I mean? Like that's how I know I like it. So
That's real. The 12, 14-hour days don't necessarily exhaust you. It's they're long, but it's not like
yeah, it's not
function afterwards.
right. It's like, oh damn, I gotta do this. Yeah, I'm not thinking about quitting. I'm just thinking about
Like you stare at the clock of like, so we did.
Yeah, where we get? Yeah, exactly. Shoot, we get overtime. I thought a nice little pep in my step. It's like, oh yeah, we get overtime. Like,
You mentioned something unique just now about the DMV as well, which is like just the region itself. Like we're not just saying like what's unique about Atlanta and like that's just dealing with just Georgia. Like we're talking about 3 different states or territories that have their own individual incentives and policies in place like that. And we always talk about incentives of like that's is what's always going to attract more business here. I'm curious, beyond incentives, is there anything else that you felt like we could do is needed to kind of release this bottleneck that we might be feeling in this area when it comes to production?
yes. Oh, I kind of feel like honestly there should be, if there was like some sort of corporation or some sort of entity that's not the government, it's not really super tied with the government, that could build up the community and then find a way to distribute out to the artists to do things, and then somehow just take some sort of S cut on the back. But it would just take a good bit of capital. But I do feel like, and that doesn't just go for like just production. I feel like just all art and platforms in the DMV. It's like there's too much talent here.
Yeah.
And a lot of our talent leaves because they don't have that as outlet unless certain people make the outlet. You know, like, and there are pioneers of people that do it, like the Front Porch or like, you know, just there's a bunch, and I just can't think of any, but there's Tequila Talk, you know, Girl Geese 2, like we just gotta stay here and just do it and put the extra work versus just trying to go out and get it. It's just and you know, we also have to be able to support each other.
Yeah.
Too.
You mentioned something like an organization. I'll make sure I understood that. Like an organization that kind of is like overseeing, if you will, that kind of go out together, or like how do you?
I'm trying to do that with something like that with What a Weekend, but like I haven't really figured it out. But I do feel like it can't really come from necessarily the government. Like I got too many things that they got going on. Like, you know, like with just the film office, you know, a lot of times they don't always have like the resources, or, you know, they still have a finite, you know, budget, you know what I mean? It's
program requirements they had to stick within.
Right.
Okay.
It needs to be like a nonprofit or something like that that's continuously getting this money, because we're pouring into it, and in turn they're pouring into the community. in people's projects. The only problem is though, is when we get, super selfish because everybody wants their particular project to get is the one to get made. And that's not really like helping the community. It's like, all right, everyone should, strive to get a project made, but it's like, you still got to pick and do what makes sense to grow it so that everyone can get a project made.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like kind of where it's at. Like, find the writers, find it like collaboration. It's a big.
So finding collaboration beyond just like the support of government collaborations, what I feel like you're kind of saying. So yeah, and like they could be supportive of it, but they shouldn't.
Yeah.
In this realm of it, what you're saying, they shouldn't be the leads of it. Like they should.
Yeah, we need
the dependable.
We need something else in addition to what the government's doing.
Right.
Like, we should still be getting grants and companies that like they help with like getting grants and doing a bunch of grants and stuff, but something that's like solely focused on it.
Yeah,
I feel like, but
that's a good point.
That's just me.
No, I mean you're an active participant in this industry in this area, so I think your perspective is super important to hear from, and it's not just from like a policy person who may have been on set 5 or 6 years ago or a couple of decades ago and now got the suit on, and it's really trying to make these business decisions that are supposed to be supporting the creative. And you as a creative should have like what do you think should really happen? How do you feel like it will really impact the area type of voice as well? So it's just you, but you could be speaking in the similar way of like another 1,000 people could be thinking right now.
Yeah, if one of y'all got something good, get to it.
You mentioned What a Weekend, and we sit here and talk about these entities that are in the creative space that go beyond just like the government, I won't say interference, but government support or leadership. Talk to me about What a Weekend just a little bit. I think you got the logo on your hat as well, but you mentioned What a Weekend in a few different ways. It feels cultural, but also production oriented. But what is What a Weekend?
All right, so What a Weekend is pretty much what we do. We connect people to businesses. We have an app coming out. So like if you type in cocktails and rooftops, all the spots that's cocktails and rooftops will come up that we're associated with. That's on the app. And it's strictly just for the DMV area right now. And just the idea kind of came about with the whole app from when Keith Lee was here, and he didn't know where to go. Yeah, and it was like this downplaying it. I was like, oh yeah, tourism had something like this. People that this wouldn't be a problem. Man.
So correct me if I'm wrong here. It sounds like it combines like this for list type of list, where it's like top 10 places to go for a night out or restaurant, but also like has this almost for me when you talk about it just now. If I know where I can find a restaurant that has a good drink, I know I can find a place with good food. I'm also like seeing these locations. It could also be like a location management system as well.
Yep.
And that feeds into it. It's specifically just for here.
Yep. And also too, like, let's, we're friends with like see the places that you favored and that and vice versa. But the idea is really I'm trying to find a balance of making it is really for businesses. So like businesses can have a voice versus like to combat all of what everyone else is saying about their business. So it's like really so that they really have a voice and we as people determine like if you want to go to that business or not.
Okay. So you're like removing the reviews from like this?
Yeah, there'll still be like a kind of a review thing, but it's more so centralized on like, all right, let's say it's not super heavy algorithm based. So if a business like they continuously update, they're like, oh yeah, I'm about to do happy hour right now for from 4 to 6. Everyone should pull up. Boom, boom. They have that event. They'll place that or do that on the app. Their business comes to the top of the list, letting everybody know. And then of course, if you follow it, you're gonna get the notification like, oh hey, this business is doing this. Same thing with events. Like if you guys are throwing, and this is just for like the consumer base, but if you're throwing an event, you put your event on there. I'll let everyone know like, oh hey, event's going from this time to this time. Yeah, pull up. Put your video that describes the event, pictures, all that. But it's strictly DMV-based. But how we've been moving it, we've been giving out the production side of it comes out. We've been giving out free videos for everyone that signs up on the app. You get up that shows your little like a miniature commercial. But yeah, that's What a Weekend.
Now, Leon, this is your first time in this chair, but I always put set on the spot.
Like I've seen you do, the the lighting with Leon's, right? Like, what are some suggestions that you may have that DPs could practice enhancing their lighting abilities without it being the preparation for an actual production day that they may have coming up?
I would say the best way to practice before you get on is I always I'm speaking more as a gaffer. I show up to a lot of things for free sometimes and help out and see how other people are doing it and you know get their input or and whatnot. Like I would say like as a DP, like other people that have shoots or other DPs that are having shoots, go in and just see like how they're doing something and or like how they're framing it or and like why they're framing it when they're doing it. Because, then you can take their tools and add it to the arsenal. And I do that a lot with different gaffers that I run into or talk to. There's a gaffer I look up to, his name's Justin. He did some things like Snowfall. He does like a lot of big movies. I like seeing like some of his behind the scenes. I'm like, oh yeah, I could just do that, and add that to my, repertoire. Uh, I would say a cheat code also too for like if you're like just doing contrast is wherever your camera is. So if your camera is like looking at your subject like this, you don't want to put the light. You don't want to put the light in front of the camera. You always want to put the light either here, or like there for contrast. And then you kind of build around that without always hitting the front. Unless you absolutely need to like rap just to like put something in the face. But it's just like how an easy way to make contrast. But yeah, another thing I could say is probably frame something and then make it pretty versus because sometimes you don't always have like the luxury of always like, oh yeah, I can put it exactly where I want. You're stuck in a room and you're like, all right, how can I make this room look good on camera? You can, put the camera there, frame it, and then start like adding elements to it with lights, set deck. Yeah. So okay, now this is a usable frame. Like I make this a movie. And a lot of times I feel like a lot of indie movies and stuff like that, like they miss the mark on sometimes the lighting, but a lot of times it's the set direction. Like you have a good frame, but when you look at everything, it's like a bunch of white walls and this, that, and third. It takes you out of the movie or it takes you out of the feeling of it because people don't realize like how important really art direction is. You know what I mean? So it's like stuff like that helps like lighting and you can use lighting to help hide stuff. So the walls aren't so flat or whatever. But just different stuff like that. Pick a frame, add things to it to make it a good looking frame. And I feel like you just do that on a regular, yeah, you'll be great because you'll get up in any location filming. You be anywhere.
So in terms of preparation, right? I'm pretty sure you come across many different lighting diagrams or ideas, right? So when you do come across those, at what point do you practice those? Do you practice them on set, or do you try to build something prior to getting on set and building testing out that lighting stuff?
So I'm gonna be honest. I never. Oh, you want to ask the question?
No.
Go ahead. Okay. So I'm gonna be honest. I never actually practiced other diagrams or other I never I'll see them on Instagram or see them on wherever I'm looking at and see like, oh, that's how they looked at, and I'll just keep it strolling. Like I've never really been like, all right, I'm gonna take this. Like I've never done that. I'm sure like it probably might be a good practice. Maybe I should do it. Who knows? But I like.
So you never look at a frame or a video, paused it. I was like, let me study where these lights show up.
No, I've done that, but I've never like taken it and recreated it. I never like, oh yeah, I have these lights. I'm just trying to do this real quick and see what it looks like. I kind of just like look at their diagram and I maybe just be like, okay, the light's hitting from there. But usually I got pretty good to a point now where I can look at it, look at something and just be like, oh yeah, this is where, light sources are hitting from. And if I wanted to kind of recreate that, I can to an extent. Um, it's now like what I'm like trying to up on is like lighting bigger spaces, but doing a lot of things with like lighting cues and effects and being able to add that to my repertoire. Like, I was recently on something where someone was like, oh yeah, I'm on the elevator. I need the elevator to, once they get on the elevator, feel like fireworks are going off. And I was like, oh wow, okay. Let me figure this out. So, me and Bib, shout out to Chance. She was a DP that challenged me to do that too. But I was like, okay, like, it was a whole dream sequence, but like as she was going up the elevator, like the guys going up the elevator, fireworks started going off. We're going off, and it just had to like reflect that on their face. So, I'm just like trying to get better at stuff like that, lighting cues or like
The creative.
yeah, or like, outside and having like light chases with the tubes and, making that always look good. And, like there's like, that's why I'm always honored and humbled to like, oh yeah, you're a lighting guy or lighting genius. And it's like, I still feel like I'm murdered. You know what I mean? Like, I still look at other people and whatnot, but oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. But I really appreciate it.
Why is filmmaking important to you?
It was a great way for me to express myself as a kid.
You still feel like you're able to use it to express yourself?
Yes, I feel like I learned to communicate a lot better than when I was younger, and I think I got into film really just because it was a easier way for me to articulate what I had going on in my head versus just trying to explain. And I still feel like that when I go out to um, pitch a series or something. I'm doing a series now called Samia, and uh, it's because the concept is so out there. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna shoot it. It's just like you just watch it, and then you'll get the idea, And so once I started doing it, people were like, oh, okay, I kind of get it now,
Now it's called Samia or Insomnia?
Samia.
Samia. Where are you at with Samia now at this point? You said it's a series, but it sounds like
yeah.
you've already shot something out in the can as well.
Right. We are halfway done with the pilot episode, and the reason why it's taking longer is because it's an anthology series. So each story kind of stands on their own. Each episode will have 3 stories in it that are all connected to these witches that tell these stories. And the idea for the series is that the witches themselves have an overarching story themselves. So when you watch just their parts, like they'll tell the story, and then the stories that they tell a story. So it's like they're telling these stories to rebuild the universe. Written by Shamshir Banks.
Say it again.
Written by Shamshir Banks.
Should I know the name?
You will soon. Like Shamshir is dope. Like he's one of my favorite writers. He's a writer from the area. Really, yeah, dope. Yeah, I kind of came up with the concept of like, hey, let's do something that's kind of like Are You Afraid of the Dark from back when we was growing up, or Goosebumps, like kind of something like that, in that vibe, but a little more mature. And yeah, this would, he came up with, we bounced back ideas and stuff, and like, dude can really write. He actually even wrote my other short, How to Get What You Deserve, which hope you guys check that out too.
Where can they check it out?
So we're trying to premiere it at South by Southwest. So I gotta give you a private link. So you just gotta reach out to me to check it out. But we are trying to get reviews for it if anyone wants to do reviews. But yeah, that's a lot of cool. Yeah.
Well, Leon, thank you. I appreciate you jumping in, hopefully on a comfortable couch. Yeah, that puts his legs to sleep ring.
Nah,
We would have a
it
conversation.
was like the perfect amount of firmness.
There you go.
It's like, yeah,
That's not what's our James Gaffer.
yeah, good job.
We make sure. Could have you here, sitting here for an hour and then like,
Be anxious and what.
Yeah.
This was great. Great couch.
Appreciate you, man.
All right, boss. You say.
Thank you.
you.